You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show, where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. Today we confront a grave injustice, one that transcends the confines of legal debate and that strikes at the very heart of human rights. Robert Sylvester Kelly, a man already serving an unfair lengthy sentence, currently faces a threat far greater than the punishment imposed by the courts. His life is in imminent danger, not from the consequences of his convictions, but from a sinister and orchestrated plot within the very system tasked with his protection. The Federal Bureau of Prisons, an institution meant to uphold safety and justice, has instead become a crucible of threats, conspiracies and outright attempts on R. Kelly's life. The evidence is undeniable. The stakes are life and death, and the only just resolution is his immediate release to home detention. This is not a plea for leniency but a demand to preserve a man's life against a calculated murder plot by prison officials and inmates. Let us begin with the chilling core of this crisis. R. Kelly, who is currently incarcerated at FCI Butner in North Carolina, has uncovered a horrifying scheme. Prison officials entrusted with his safety have allegedly solicited inmates who double as members of the Aryan Brotherhood, a notorious white supremacist gang, to assassinate him. And this is not speculation but rather a sworn declaration from Michael Glenn Stein, a terminally ill inmate and self-proclaimed leader of the Aryan Brotherhood. He reveals that 3 high-ranking Bureau of Prisons officials approached him in February 2023 with a proposition. They offered Stein, who now has little time left due to his terminal cancer, the chance to live out his final days as a free man if he would kill R. Kelly. The motive? To silence his efforts to expose alleged misconduct by federal authorities, including the theft of his attorney-client communications to coerce witnesses during his prosecutions. Stein, who was transferred to Mr. Kelly's unit in March, was explicitly instructed to carry out this murder. Yet in a rare act of conscience, Stein refused and warned Mr. Kelly of the plot. But the danger did not end there. In June, R. Kelly's legal team learned of a second Aryan Brotherhood member tasked with killing both Stein and R. Kelly to cover up the initial conspiracy. Now these are not idle threats but credible and documented solicitations of murder within the federal prison system. The gravity of these allegations cannot be overstated. The Bureau of Prisons is constitutionally obligated to ensure the safety of every inmate regardless of their crimes. Yet R. Kelly's life is under constant threat from the very officials sworn to protect him. The 8th Amendment of the United States Constitution explicitly prohibits cruel and unusual punishment, and keeping him in a facility where his murder has been solicited is a flagrant violation of this fundamental right. To leave him in such conditions is to subject him to a daily torment of fear, knowing that each moment could be his last. This is not justice, this is a death sentence disguised as incarceration. The threats against R. Kelly's life are not abstract. They are specific, targeted and corroborated. Stein's declaration details a pattern of prison officials orchestrating violence, including prior assaults and killings at their behest. He claims to have been directed by a prison official to eliminate Mr. Kelly because his legal team was uncovering damaging information about prosecutorial misconduct. This official, according to Stein, had a history of commissioning such acts to silence problematic inmates. The transfer of Stein to Mr. Kelly's unit was no coincidence. It was a deliberate move to facilitate this plot. Furthermore, another inmate, David Keith Harris, has claimed that prison officials instructed him to poison Mr. Kelly's food, a method chillingly suggested by a Bureau of Prisons official who warned Kelly to avoid the mess hall and commissary due to the risk of poisoning. These are not isolated incidents but part of a systemic failure to protect Mr. Kelly, all driven by a desire to suppress his legal defense. The conditions of Mr. Kelly's confinement exacerbate this peril. On June 10 this year 2025, shortly after his legal team filed an emergency motion for his release, Mr. Kelly was placed in solitary confinement against his will. This was not a protective measure but a punitive one, isolating him from communication with his family and legal counsel, denying him access to the commissary and subjecting him to inhumane conditions. His attorney reported that Mr. Kelly was left in a cell with spiders crawling over him as he tried to sleep. a vivid illustration of the degrading environment he endures. Solitary confinement, often used as a disciplinary tool, has been widely criticized as psychological torture. It appears to be a deliberate tactic to break his spirit and expose him to further harm. The most shocking escalation occurred on June 12 when prison staff allegedly administered an overdose of Mr. Kelly's anxiety and sleep medication, leading to his collapse and hospitalization at Duke University Hospital on June 13. Court documents reveal that he experienced dizziness, black spots in his vision, and lost consciousness after receiving a life-threatening dose of medication. He was hospitalized for 2 days and diagnosed with untreated blood clots requiring surgery, yet was forcibly removed from the hospital against medical advice before the procedure could take place. This incident, detailed in a June 17 filing, is not a mere accident but a continuation of the alleged murder plot. The deliberate administration of an overdose by prison staff, followed by the denial of critical medical treatment, underscores the immediate and ongoing threat to Mr. Kelly's life. The Bureau of Prisons has declined to comment, citing pending litigation, but their silence does little to refute the mounting evidence of their complicity. These events are not without precedent. In 2020, while awaiting trial at Chicago's Metropolitan Correctional Center, R. Kelly was assaulted in his sleep by another inmate, highlighting a pattern of inadequate protection. The current allegations, however, are far more severe, involving not just negligence but active collusion by prison officials. The involvement of the Aryan Brotherhood, a group known for its violent extremism, adds a layer of racial animus to the threat, as Mr. Kelly, an African American, faces targeted hostility from white supremacist inmates backed by federal authorities. This racial dimension further amplifies the injustice, as it suggests a discriminatory abuse of power within the prison system. The legal foundation for Mr. Kelly's release is rooted in the constitutional violations he faces. The First Amendment protects his right to communicate with his legal counsel, yet his attorney-client communications have been stolen and used to manipulate witnesses, undermining his Sixth Amendment right to a fair trial. The Eighth Amendment, as mentioned, prohibits cruel and unusual punishment, and the deliberate endangerment of his life through solicited murder and medical neglect constitutes such punishment. The courts have a duty to intervene when an inmate's life is at risk, and the extraordinary circumstances of this case, corroborated by sworn statements and documented incidents, demand immediate action. The courts have the authority to grant temporary furlough under such extraordinary circumstances, and the evidence of a murder plot, corroborated by multiple sources, meets this threshold. The alternative of leaving Kelly in a facility where Aryan Brotherhood members are allegedly being recruited to kill him risks a tragic outcome that would stain the integrity of the justice system. The broader implications of this case cannot be ignored. If prison officials can solicit the murder of a high-profile inmate to cover up their own misconduct, what does this say about the safety of other prisoners? The allegations point to a systemic issue of corruption and accountability within the federal prison system. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say? To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.